And what I was able to do from the stock market was take care of my family from inside of federal prison.
Wow.
That right there, that stuck me.
Wow.
I'm sending money home and not being a burden on my family by having them send money to me.
Let's wholesale real estate. We're gonna wholesale real estate. If you wanna wholesale real estate, then you are in the right place. You don't need no money, you don't need no credit. It's so simple that anyone can get it. Luke's gonna teach you just how to get started. All you have to do is learn and apply it. You are in the right place. You're gonna wholesale real estate. You're gonna wholesale real estate. So let's get started.
What's going on, everybody? Sock Passe, not Boule, and welcome to another episode of School of Wholesaling. I'm your host, Luke Madez, and I've got a very special guest on the show with me right now. Listen, this dude right here, I cannot wait to introduce y'all to my man Pierre, because Pierre Thompson, he has an amazing story, which he hasn't yet shared with me yet. We about to dig into that today. So guess what, guys? We are all getting the exclusive interview from Pierre for the first time right now. It's going to be an amazing blast. So let me go ahead and introduce Pierre. Pierre, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing all right, brother. I am doing okay. I'm happy to be here. Happy to share my story. I think my story is not unique from a lot of other Black men in society, but I think that story could also be inspiring. You know, sometimes you get in that position and you think that there's no way out. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons I agreed to come on the show today.
Awesome, brother. Listen, it is an absolute pleasure and blessing to have you on the show today, man, and sharing your personal experience through life that's going to impact the next life, because we all know, man, that's what we're here to do. When we were talking, we immediately connected, right? When we met, bro, we met in Atlanta, man. Yo, real quick, Pierre, how was Atlanta, bro? How was it?
Listen, that conference was awesome. I want to tell you one thing. If you don't take nothing away from this interview that we're doing right here, get in the room. And I know it's cliche, right? It seems like we're hearing that time and time again, but it's becoming cliche because it's an actual fact. There is so much knowledge in those rooms. There's so much like-minded people in those rooms. Sometimes you can't grow with your buddy. Sometimes you can't grow with your brother or your sister. Sometimes it takes outside forces to help you get to the next level. And in those rooms is where I met Luke here. And in those rooms is where you're going to meet the next person that may take you to millionaire status.
Yo, perfectly said, man. Listen, that is 100% true. If it wasn't for the fact that you came to Atlanta, you came to that conference, and if it wasn't for the fact that I came to that conference, we would have never met. And what we're working on right now, I'm going to do a shameless plug. You know, let's go and do a shameless plug. Listen, Pierre and I, guys, are working on an amazing new thing. We're not going to go ahead and spoil everything just yet. You guys will hear about it. We're going to, I'll be talking about it on the podcast once we get it all together. But I figure we just go ahead and sprinkle a little salt bait.
A little bit.
Just a little bit, and let y'all know what's going on. Because listen, what we're doing is we're on a mission right now to get people educated on the things that they really need to know. That's actually going to put them in a position to eat for a lifetime and not a lunchtime. All right.
I like
that's
that.
A quote. Hey, that's a quote from my guy Rory K. Douglas. One of my mentors who was also on this show. And so you guys heard him already. So listen, this is exactly what we're here to do. We want to give you guys the necessary information that you're not getting anywhere else. Traditional education is not about to share with you guys what we're about to share with you. As a matter of fact, Pierre, what do you do, brother? Go ahead and share with them what you do, man. What you do is exciting, bro.
Listen, man, what we're going to talk about today, because I want to tell you something. I have multiple streams of income, and I believe you should also have multiple streams of income. But I believe you should focus on one first and get that foundation down and then multiply from there. So what we're going to talk about today is the stock market. The stock market is so exciting, and why I like to teach the stock market, especially to my community, is because of the ease of entry, right? I want everybody to eventually own a house and get into real estate, right? I want everybody to eventually own their own business. Of course I do. But those things take a little time, a little effort. You know, you need more tools to be able to get into those vehicles. But the stock market, you take $100, you put it into a stock market, and bam, you're investing at that point. You start making money from day one if you do it right. You understand? So the reason I show stock market first, or I tout the stock market first, is because of the ease of entry, right? It's a low ticket, high return type of situation. And those are the things that I give to my people first before we get into, the other steps that I believe you should get into.
Yo, amazing. I absolutely love it, brother. I'm super excited for everybody to learn about this, because I know when I discovered the stock market, and at first, like many people, I didn't really know much about it, right? It had this sense of I had this little bit of fear behind it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
At first,
Correct.
and I remember during the pandemic, I finally went ahead and decided to just put my chips into a stock. The first stock I did was U1. You know about U1?
Yes, I know about U1.
I did that right before the George Floyd happened. I did that, and my stock shot up. I went from I never seen a few $100s turn into thousands before, just like that, overnight,
that.
almost, right?
Correct.
And so
Correct.
I never that was the first experience that I had with the stock market where I won a whole lot, and I was like, oh man, I got to keep doing this, But for me, my area of expertise, of course, is real estate, and so I wanted to bring in an expert on this show, because when I saw the power of that, I'm like, this is valuable, and I wonder what happens when someone can take some of the strategies that I teach them, which is how to make money in real estate with little to no money at all, but turn that into thousands. Well, what happens when you take those thousands, 5,000, 3,000, 10,000, and you go to somebody like Pierre, right? You go to Pierre and you go get that help to move that 10,000 you got into a stock market and turn that 10,000 to possibly 100,000. And so this is why we are here right now.
Correct.
When we was talking, we're like, oh man, yeah, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to let the people know. So I'm excited to have you here, Pierre. And really, man, let me tell you, there's a lot of people that do stocks and everything like that. There's a lot of people that do trading and options and Forex and all of that. But the reason I really wanted to have you on the show is because, one, you are an expert at this, right? But two, at the same time, Pierre, your story is absolutely phenomenal, bro. I cannot wait to hear it. I cannot wait to dive deep, man. I'm gonna dissect your story like we dissect the frogs, bro. So I hope you.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
Are you ready to get rolling, man? Because I know that there's somebody right now listening to this that's gonna be impacted just from everything you've been through. So now, Pierre, I'm gonna go ahead and set the stage here. So you let me know, brother. You let me know that your story consisted of you going to federal prison, and then in federal prison you learned the stock market, man, and you changed your life. So let's start from there, brother. Give us the story.
All right. So I went into federal prison because I was selling drugs. Number one, that's kind of like the profession of choice from people inside of our communities, and I ended up in federal prison 8 years. 8 years in federal prison, and I had a choice. Right, I can go out every day and play basketball with the fellas, or I could actually change my life. The good thing about federal prison, if there's such a good thing, right, is that the federal government does not discriminate. So fortunately, but unfortunately, the person I met in federal prison was a hedge fund manager. And I didn't know that, of course, meeting them. And as I got closer to him, he reached out to me and he said to me, and this was so weird, and he said to me, you're a little different. And the difference was that I was trying to consume every financial book in the library, every single financial book, because I figured that my life had to change. Once I left this federal prison, I was never going back, and my life had to change. I didn't know how, though. Let me give you another little tidbit that you probably don't know. I have a GED education. Never been to college. I didn't finish high school. One of the best things about me was that my grandmother instilled in us reading. I couldn't use certain words in her presence, or she would say, yeah, show me that in the dictionary. And I would go look for these words in the dictionary, right? 9 times out of 10, they wasn't there. or if they were there, she wanted to know how did I use that word in a sentence properly. That was an everyday education for me.
Wow.
So
thank God for grandma.
Good, thank God for grandma. Yeah. Thank God for her. So being that I already knew how to read, right, and had a great high level understanding of what I read, had no limitations. Whatever I read and consumed, I can really act upon. So anyway, that's what got me noticed by this hedge fund manager. And by the way, just like state prison, right? There is a fear factor, even though we are the minority, out in the country, right? Go figure how we will become the majority, right, in a facility, right? Wow. Go figure. Yes. And that's a conversation for a different show. But so being that we're the majority in that situation, he was seeking out sort of like a protector as well. So when he came to my cell, when he was talking to me and we was having conversations, I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. But I'm very approachable. I'm well spoken, and I could straddle the fence, be versatile. What I'm trying to say. And me and him started talking, and I said, "What are you here for?" And he told me he was there for fraud. And he ended up getting 25 years for fraud. So for people who always think that, people of color are the only people getting time, federal government don't discriminate. He's in there for 25 years. Anyway, so he started to let me know what he did for a profession. And I was intrigued. I already knew a little bit about the stock market. I already owned a few stocks, right? But I didn't have a deep dive into the stock market. And in federal prison, you don't have access to the internet, right? There's no internet. So we really literally learned how to do the stock market from the newspaper. Okay. I did a subscription to a newspaper called the IBD. It's the Investors Business Daily. Okay. And he taught me how to trade stocks through the newspaper. Wasn't easy, but in my mind, I knew that it had to be a better way. I knew I was never coming back to that place. They say that recidivism has a high rate, meaning that you go back to, if you come from prison, it's a high likelihood that you will return to prison. But what I realized is that I have a choice. The only way I would return to prison is if I did something for me to go to prison.
Right.
So anyway, I had about 3 years left. Once I met this guy. So for 3 years, we did a deep dive into the stock market. And what I was able to do from the stock market was take care of my family from inside of federal prison.
Wow.
That right there, that stuck me.
Wow.
I'm sending money home and not being a burden on my family by having them send money to me. I was hooked at that point. That's why I tell people that you can make money from literally anywhere.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta stop you 1 second, only because it's getting. Yo, I'm getting hot in here, bro. It's getting hot. Yo, this is absolutely phenomenal. Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. See. Look, this is why I wanted to say this conversation because I wanted it to be so organic, man. You know what I mean? That's absolutely amazing, So let's just touch back on something you said a little earlier, right? You said that you realized that you had a choice. Correct. I mean, you knew what the stats were, you knew what the likelihood was, and also Pierre, right? If we're in a group of 5 people and all 5 of them are millionaires, right? We're gonna be the 6th millionaire. At the same time, if you're in a federal prison and majority of the people there are going to be repeat offenders, them odds are stacked way against you. So all I'm trying to say, man, is like, I wanted to just touch on that part because I think that is going to be a key part for many people who may be facing this situation right now and need to know, well, man, what do I really need to focus on right now? So that way I won't be a part of that statistic. you defied the odds, bro.
Correct.
The odds, you are defying those odds, and I think that's very important. And so, what caused you to realize, like, what was it for you? What was that aha moment for you where you decided that, oh man, you know what, I got a choice, and I'm gonna make this choice to invest in the stock market? What was that for you? When was that moment?
Well, for me personally, I was already searching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was already in search of that specific vehicle. And when I went to the feds, right? Let me back up a second. When I went to the feds, I owned 15 properties. I owned 15 properties at this time, and I thought real estate was my way out, right? But once I caught my charge, right, the feds promptly took that away, and money I had laying aside. So I already knew how to do real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first love is real estate, right? People told me that, to build a long-term wealth, real estate is the thing. So, but I knew me coming out of prison, I won't be able to, get the real estate that I thought I needed to have, right? I wasn't knowledgeable about flipping or nothing like that. I was more of the long-term hold, keep it for rents and appreciation. Okay. So when you come home, right, in my mind, when I come home, even if I bought 3 properties at once and I got $1,000 a door, I'll be getting $3,000. Okay. That wasn't going to change my life, I thought, right away. And I only knew, like I said, one strategy. I didn't know nothing about wholesaling. I didn't know anything about that at the time. So I was looking for something that I can get into, right, with little money, have the potential to make lots of money. So once he showed me the potential of the stock market, right, I was already drawn in just by the potential. I'm talking about, you can make a week's salary in a day. You can make a year's salary in a week. And this is real numbers. This is no nonsense. This is something that really, really can happen for anybody listening to this podcast. Anybody. The stock market don't discriminate. Money is green, and if you want it, it's there for you. Now, I want to say something first, right? Because a lot of people always make it seem like it's instant oatmeal. You're going to become a millionaire the next day. I'm authentic, I'm real, and I like to give it to people in that way. You will never, ever get to your financial freedom number unless you put some work in. And the stock market is no different. I don't want to tell you that this is a get-rich-quick scheme. I don't want to let you know that, hey, come hang with me, and then you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. All of that is a pipe dream. But what I'm here to tell you is that wealth building strategies, whatever it is, stock market, real estate, your own business, whatever it is, it requires some work. But what I knew, right, is that I had a GED education. Everybody don't know that about me. I'm really being transparent today because everybody doesn't know that. The way I talk and the way I move, some people think I went to college, but I've been to the college of hard knocks, right? But understanding that for me to come out of federal prison, in order for me to get a job, right, this is what they told me. And from federal prison, the way I came out early was they have something called the halfway house. So you transition back into society, from prison to the halfway house, and then, you're entirely free. Okay. So in the halfway house, they do an assessment on you because one of their roles is to help you get a job. So when I told them about my employment history, I told them about my education level, they told me that I should be happy with $10 an hour.
What?
Yeah. They said you should go find a $10 an hour job with your experience and with your education level, and then go from there.
Wow.
That wasn't going to work for me.
You had to do something about that. He said, nah, this ain't it. Now I know that's not the path. That
ain't the path. Unbeknownst to them, I had already 3 years in the stock market. So I came out of prison and I had $75,000 coming out of prison. So that gave me a real leg up, even though I didn't share that with the halfway house, right? I don't want them to know, everything. But I said that to you guys to say that if I could make $75,000 while I'm in prison, don't you think you can make $75,000 from the comfort of your own home? That's a fact.
Woo! Gonna let that marinate real quick. Gonna let that marinate a little bit, man. That's a question for you. You know, that's a great question. That's a great question. I really want people to think about that. You know, and so this brings up another question. All right. So you mentioned so for 3 years, right? You made the decision. You made the choice. So the stocks was already something you were interested in, right? And you made the choice while you was in prison to say, you know, let me go all in on this. I know that I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing. So let me go all in on this. And you said that the person that you met in there, you mentioned that he saw that the fact that you are educating yourself, right? You're reading,
correct.
You're educating yourself in prison. So I think that's another amazing thing I want to just shed some light on, right? Because I mean, there's a whole lot of other things you could be doing in prison, right? And you know, I just want to mention there is somebody, there's another person I know of, and he has somewhat of a similar story, and his name is Coach Lynch. You ever heard of Coach Lynch?
No.
He's a motivational speaker. He spent 10 years in prison, and you know, his story was that he spent 10 years in prison and he was working on his mindset the entire time, right? So for him, you know, he had a mindset. He's a personal trainer. He has a fitness gym and everything like that, business that he's running. But the stories are similar. So I figured I'd just ask if you heard of him. But
I never heard of him, but I want to say this. I want to plug this in real quick. We have a choice anywhere we are. We have a choice on what direction we're going to go. We have a choice on what new skills we're going to learn. It's all really our choice. I mean, you know, I believe in God. I don't know if everybody does, but God gave us free will to make choices. And our life is just an accumulation of all the choices that we made. And every day, guess what? We get to make a new choice. That's how I feel about it.
That's beautiful. That's facts. That's 100% true, brother. That's 100% true. And so with those 3 years, man, tell me what was going through your mind as you were going through this process, those 3 years, and you were picking up stocks. What did that look like? What was your experience?
Well, for the first 3 months, I couldn't trade at all. He was just, you know, I thought, right, in my mind, I said, oh, I got this guy. I'm going to win, you know, and he was like, no, I want you to learn how to trade, not learn how to follow me. So for 3 months, all we did, and I'm talking about there's a lot of time wasted in prison. So from 9 o'clock in the morning to like 6 o'clock in the evening, all we did was study the market, was study techniques, was, you know, learn how to read charts. And it's so crazy because now, right, I'm home, right? When I first came home, it looked so different because I'm on a computer and you can make the chart this big, right? But in prison, you get a little chart and a piece of paper and you got to learn from that. So the first 3 months, there was no trading. It was just learning, right? And I felt like Daniel's son at the time, right? So if he said wax on and I waxed off, that's how it went. But I knew in my mind, I didn't know the slogan then. I just recently got the slogan, but I felt like it has to work or it has to work. That's how I felt inside. But I didn't know those words, right? But that's how I felt. I felt like I got to immerse myself in this because I don't have any other choice, you know? I don't have any other choice but to learn a skill that's going to sustain my family. That's what it was. It was no different. So I just really immersed myself. And after we finished our training, I read that newspaper from the first page to the section where they got the ads. I read everything in that newspaper. Now, mind you, in prison, you have a lot of time, right? That's what you're doing, time, basically. But even when you're home, right? I heard something at the seminar that we were at, right? And the guy said, how are you not a millionaire, but you got a favorite TV show? How are you not a millionaire, but you know the stats on LeBron James? You know how many assists he had, how many points he scored. How are you not a millionaire, but what you're doing is, you know what's happening on Love and Hip Hop or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yo, I just heard that yesterday, right? And this is the playoff times. I flew from New York to DC to watch the Knicks play the Washington Wizards, right? Knocked them out, for the playoffs, right? And since I've been home, I ain't turned my TV on. Because how am I not at my goal, but I'm watching people who already are at their goal. So I said that to say that you can find time while you're home by just cutting out some things that ain't putting no money in you and your family's pocket. Cut those things out, cut out that noise, and just focus on where you want to go, because it does take time and it does take dedication, but you can be there.
Wow.
So after the first 90 days, right, he made me choose a stock, but I had to explain to him why. Why did I think it was going to go up? Why did I think, what were the characteristics of the stock? I had to tell him the fundamentals, and I had to tell him the technicals. Technicals is charts, and I had to tell him why. And by just understanding that, it gave me so much understanding. And without me, a lot of people want it done for them, right? But I left him in federal prison, right? What if I didn't learn the skill, but I needed him on my shoulder?
Facts.
I'll be looking for the next thing.
Facts.
So when you learn something, please learn it independently for yourself. Take a coach. The coach takes out all of the guesswork, right? So a coach is I have a coach. He just said he had a coach. Everybody that I know is successful has a coach. People that I know that are not successful are asking me, why do I have a coach?
Yo, this is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing information. This is incredible information, guys. Guys and gals, I hope that this is, I hope you guys are taking notes. If you don't got your pen, your notepad and pen right now, you need to have it out, because we're gonna keep moving. Listen, so this is so much amazing information right now, bro. Your story is absolutely incredible. $75,000 while being in prison. Like, you were behind walls and bars, and yet on the outside of those walls and bars, you racking up the bag, bro.
Right.
You know, go ahead. You were gonna say something.
I was gonna say that I surpassed my wife's salary while I was in prison, and she was going to work every single day. That's how I knew that I wasn't coming home to work for nobody. I wasn't gonna do that. That I was gonna let my knowledge, right, the skills that I learned from my coach, so to speak, take me to the next level. And I'm still looking for coaches. Because it comes a point where you hit a ceiling of knowledge, right? You exhausted everything you know. And if you want to grow, you got to find a person whose floor is your ceiling.
Ooh.
They will take you higher. You know what I mean?
Yes. Write notes on that. It's that's absolutely phenomenal, brother. Listen, so I got the next question here for you, bro. If you could describe in 2 minutes, like in about 120 seconds, what if somebody was a beginner in trading, right? They don't know nothing about trading. They don't even know nothing about the stock market. They may be a little afraid of the stock market, right? They may be scared because they don't know about it. What is important for them to know in order to get started?
I think the first thing people need to know is that the stock market is a different language, right? You go to a surgeon, right? And you in the surgery room, they're saying things that people in the room understand, but you as the patient might not understand what they're talking about. Every profession has its own language. So the very first step is get familiar with the language, right? So when I talk about yields and spreads and options trading and contracts, people don't understand what you mean. The layperson don't understand what you mean, right? When I tell them that one contract equals 100 shares of stock, they're like, well, how is that possible? When I tell them that how I make my most money is never actually owning a stock, they're like, what? It goes over their head. So the first thing you do is get comfortable with the language. Get comfortable with the language so when people speak to you, you understand what they're saying. Because technique, everybody has a technique. And nobody's technique is 100%. Nobody. If I had 100% rate, I probably wouldn't be on a Zoom call, right? That's probably the truth, right? There's nothing that you can do that's going to be 100% win. So after you learn the language, what you need to do is have a positive mindset. And you said that earlier about the guy that came out of prison that is a mindset coach. I think it's 80% mindset and 20% mechanics that make you successful. Because there's going to be days where you don't win. And you can just easily quit and be like, oh my God, it's over for me. But the mindset will help you keep going. That's another cliche. People don't understand when people keep saying mindset, mindset, mindset. And people think it's boring. But the mindset is what's going to, keep you on that trajectory. It's going to help you stay grounded to your goal. That mindset of it has to work or it has to work, right? That mindset keeps you going and going and going. So once you understand the language and you have a good mindset, then you can start doing techniques. That's what I believe is the best way to get started. I also believe that you guys, everybody who's listening, they have Robinhood now. Robinhood is something I think is really, really great for beginning investors, right? The way they explain things are a little more easy to read and easy to understand. If you have $100, right, and you have an Apple phone, go ahead and invest that in Apple. Go ahead and invest in Apple. You already believe in the product. You don't have to know the fundamentals. You don't have to get bogged down with being perfect. You just already believe in the product, and so does a million other people. And small wins, celebrate small wins. I don't care. In my group, right, we have a lot of people who stay in your own lane is what I'm trying to explain, right? We have a lot of people who are making more money than other people. And the reason that is because they invest more. But don't be upset if you make a 10% gain and your 10% gain off 1,000 is 100, or his 10% gain is 10,000 off 100,000. You got the same 10%. His money just happens to be longer than yours. So also stay in your lane. Don't chase nobody. Don't start running for the bag. Get some small wins under your belt and celebrate those small wins and turn those small wins into bigger wins.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, that's a huge nugget right there. That is literally the play to get started making your first investments in the stock market if you want to get going. And so thank you so much for that. Now let's do this. We got about a few minutes, so let's go ahead and do this. I'd like for you to share maybe like one or two stocks you'd recommend. Well, you already did, bro. You already did. All right, so let's cross that off. Listen, invest in Apple. But for y'all Apple users out there, if you got an Apple phone, you better put your money in Apple.
There's a few. Listen, let me give you guys a tip, right? The stock market is in shambles right now. And with my technique, you can make money if the stocks go down or if the stocks go up, right? But I want to tell you, if you're not that advanced, what you can do is look at some of the things that have been hit hardest. FinTech has been hit ridiculously hard. PayPal, Square, SoFi. Those names like that have been hit ridiculously hard. And I'm not saying that you should go invest in them right now today. What I'm saying is you should watch them when they start coming back up, right? Once they become in favor again, you should be already getting into that stock and watching that stock double or triple. Easy play right there. FinTech.
Wow. Wow. Write that one down. Right? I know I did. I just wrote that one down. Listen. All right, Pierre, we're about to wrap it up. But before we do, how can people get a hold of you, man? I know that there's some people right now that want to learn more about this. They want to get going. How can they get a hold of you?
Listen, you can find me on IG, Unlocking Financial Literacy, as well as unlocking.financial.literacy. You can find me there. I'm also on Facebook. What I'm going to do, how about this? I'm going to do this for your audience only, right? So when you come in, let me know that you found me through this podcast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a three-day challenge. I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to help you navigate the stock market. I'm not going to charge you a thing. I'm not going to charge you. It's a free giveaway only for people that are on this podcast right now. That's it.
Wow, man. Thank goodness so much, brother. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence, with your knowledge, with your experience, your life experience, thank you so much for blessing us as well with the opportunity to learn more from you and help. And so for the people that want to take their lives to the next level through the stock market, they have a way to do that, brother. So truly appreciate you coming on this show. I'm pretty sure we'll have you on another again. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We're working on a lot of things right now, so you already know what we're doing, baby. But
we got some sauce coming for you guys.
that's the end of this podcast, man. Thank you so much again. See you later. Au revoir.
Appreciate you guys.